everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CashPoly Presents Lowered Expectation Reviews. It is your weekly review show where we discuss recent stories and entertainment and offer our thoughts on the movies, TV shows, comics, and games that we're paying attention to and think you should check out or avoid. I am your host, Malik, aka the Harlem Sun, and I'm joined as usual by my CashPoly brethren, Justin, aka Base Panda God, and Agent 00 Joe. We have a great show lineup for you today, as usual. But before we get into that, Justin, remind the folks on how they can get in touch with us.
All right, so you can find us on Facebook.com/CashmerePolyester, Twitter.com/CashPolyPodcast, Instagram.com/CashPolyPodcast. And episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever else you get your favorite podcasts. And videos are available on Spotify and YouTube.
Yes, and soon, if Justin so graces us with his abilities on social media, we'll start putting some reels up on Instagram stuff. We're gonna start putting that stuff up because Justin knows how to do these things. I feel
like it would just be a collection of you guys ripping me apart, but I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Nobody has a problem with that.
That's the hits. That means you're playing the hits.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about the latest movie in the Keanu Reeves John Wick series, John Wick Chapter 4. Spoiler alert, one of us didn't like it, and you probably already know who that person is. But before we get into that, we're going to jump into a couple of quick headlines that I ran across just kind of searching the web sphere. And starting out with Ryan Coogler has been set to develop a diverse reboot of The X-Files. Have you guys heard about this?
No, I have not.
Nope.
Yeah, so apparently the creator of The X-Files is excited to share that Ryan Coogler will be developing a new reboot of the series starring a diverse cast. Of course, details and information are not available as of yet. So I think this information just came out probably as of the last couple of days. So my question to you guys is, would you be excited to see what Coogler does with this property, or should we just leave well enough alone? Were you guys fans of the X-Files beforehand, Joe? Were you a fan of the X-Files?
I was not.
Okay.
And it's not because I didn't like it. I just didn't watch it.
Okay.
I never got into it.
The Adventures of Mulder and Scully just never...
No, it came on Friday nights.
That was a rough
right?
time
I believe
slot.
it was Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
And it was back in the 90s now, man. I had other things to do.
You're in your 20s. You're in your 20s. Okay. All right.
Had a life. That's what he's trying to say.
That's cool, but don't ask no questions. My wife is in the building. Just know I wasn't there watching the show.
I wasn't watching the X-Files.
Oh,
X
man.
other things, not files.
I was gonna go there, but I didn't. I was gonna go there, but I decided to keep it PG. My thoughts to myself.
Wow. Okay.
But Justin, what about you? Did you watch the X-Files?
In and out. I like the cases of the weeks, but I wasn't a hardcore, especially toward the end. I did like the movie. Was it Fight for the Future? I did see that. I didn't see the second movie or the reboot when they actually brought them back. But I mean, am I happy for it?
Well, I think this begs the question, just in general, with all of these reboots that have come over the last, let's say, 10 years. Like, right, Jordan Peele rebooted The Twilight Zone, didn't he?
Yep.
Like not too long ago.
Yes, he did.
We've got the Magnum PI reboot that came out.
Still going
how
strong.
many years ago? How many years
It's
ago?
like
was
5
that?
years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it's actually switched stations. It went from CBS to NBC.
NBC, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting because it feels like, do we have to reboot the series, or can we just come up with something new that gives it with just a different name? You know what I mean?
They're scared. That's the only thing I can come up with is like you want to rely on the popularity of a property so it'll be a hit, right? You try to come up with something new, that's a whole other new, that's a whole nother ball game, and you have to try much harder to get people to watch, right? Why not go out with an established hit? I'm going to redo the X-Files. I'm going to redo Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone, they actually just, for the ones that I saw, were just remakes of old episodes.
With a twist.
Like with a different twist. Yeah. With a twist. But they were essentially the same.
I think, well, he did say, for the first, at least definitely for the first season, Jordan Peele, he took his favorites and, tried to put a modern day spin on it.
Right. And that's what I saw.
Toward the second season, he branched out and had varying degrees of success. I wish it would have gotten one more season, though. I did enjoy that.
Oh, I didn't even see the second season.
Yeah, I did.
But, like Black Mirror is a great example of something that, along the same lines as Twilight Zone or X-Files, and did very well on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to hit, Malik.
They don't want to work hard.
I guess my thing is really just you can. What's this guy's name? The guy that makes Law and Order, Dick Wolf. Dick Wolf has made the same show for 30 years. He just gives it a different title.
Exactly.
And calls it, and then
exactly
to go. So you can do that. You can make the same show with different storyline, different spins on it, and just call it something different.
Like Law and Order SVU. Law and Order just
because
the same title.
This is X-Files is a show that ran for like 10, 11 seasons, right?
Was it really? Was it that long?
Yeah, I believe so. So. It ran for a good long while. And so to like redo it, like it. I mean, my whole thing is it better not be Mulder and Scully. I was kind of like you, Justin, in and out, watched it on occasion, but I really loved. I don't know if you remember Fringe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fringe came out probably maybe like 10, 12 years ago now, but Fringe was very much like the X-Files, just a different twist on it or whatever. But definitely felt like that show, but it didn't feel like the X-Files. It feels like with Coogler, just take it as like, all right, the X-Files with a black cast. Okay. Like, do we really need that? And if it is X-Files with a black cast, I don't expect them to engage with the aliens very much.
It'd be like Attack the Block.
Exactly.
Oh man!
I expect
I'm gonna kill me an alien.
I expect the black agents to go, nah, B. The alien up there. I expect nope. I expect
exactly. Let's give it say nope.
Wow.
That's how I expect the black. If the black characters are going into the alien ship, it's unrealistic. This is not happening. This would not happen. Wow. We don't do that. Sorry.
See, that's why it's not gonna make sense. You're gonna have to bring back Mulder and Scully, different actors, maybe, or
exactly.
they retired.
It's got to be.
Well, maybe it'll be their child, because I remember the reboot. She was having their child.
Oh, they okay.
They finally got together. Yeah.
And the reboot only came out like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they decided to have a kid at 50.
Listen,
George Clooney did it. Or whatever.
Yeah, but his wife wasn't 50. Like Gillian Anderson. I don't know how old she is, but I have to imagine she's around that age.
Yeah, they're around
past it.
They're around each other's age.
Listen,
but they had to. I mean, dude, after the trauma that they both went through,
who else could they talk to, right?
The only other person they could deal with is each other at that point.
Yeah, I would rather them come out with you remember the show? I like Tales from the Dark Side, but the other show they used to like was similar. Was Friday the 13th. Did you ever watch Friday the 13th, the show?
I don't think I ever saw that.
It was a story about so there's this like antique shop that has mystical elements, not elements, like statues and things like that inside. They got broken into and they were stolen. a lot of artifacts were stolen. So now they're out in the wild, and they have to go retrieve them because stuff starts happening, kind of like the X-Files, but except more supernatural. I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that Netflix series that Guillermo del Toro did, the Cabinet of Curiosities. It was very
I didn't see that. Yeah,
it was very much like Tales from the Crypt, or something along those lines. Each story was an anthology series where each story was a different, horror based, tale. It was cool. So yeah, do something like that. I don't need another X-Files. I don't need another X-Files, please. Just we're good with that. Number 2, and the only reason that I brought this topic up is because it's a movie that is near and dear to Justin's heart, or was near and dear to Justin's heart. And
the character.
I knew we weren't going to cover it in a full episode.
Yeah, I don't know why we haven't talked about it, but
talking about Shazam Theory of the Gods. He hasn't seen it.
I refuse to see it.
I texted him about
to see it.
I refuse to see it.
I texted him about this. He said
why?
He's not seeing
because
it.
I am a huge Captain Marvel Shazam fan, and I blame Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for this movie sucking. I blame him.
Why?
I wish a pox on his rest of his movie career. Exactly my point.
He's like, if my movie's not going to do well, neither is yours.
He refused. So
they asked him to be in it.
He refused. He refused to
mix the characters together.
Yeah, to have any association. When we all know that Black Adam is primarily the foe of Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever you want to call him for copyright purposes, the character. I'm highly upset by that, because I think that would have having those two characters, because so you guys have seen it, I have not, but I do remember from the first one where they had the 7 thrones, and the Rock of Eternity. So one of those thrones was for Black Adam. So that kind of invalidates the whole movie premise. The fact that they're not linked. So when they said they're doing a second movie, I was just like, nah, I'm okay. Keep it. And it looks like I was right, because it's coming to streaming faster than we thought. It'll be here probably by the end of April. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the story is that this thing has basically fallen off of a cliff.
Yes.
It did 30 million domestically in its 30 or 40 million domestically in its first weekend, and only by the second weekend it came in third place this weekend with only 9 million in box office receipts. So
it's done.
It's pretty much a wrap.
But it could be saved.
I don't understand why. I don't, with the public's hunger for superhero movies, I don't know why this one.
Well, you guys saw it. Was it any good?
I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first one. I didn't walk out the there like, man, that sucked. I didn't feel that way about it.
I mean, yeah. For
or would
me,
you watch it again?
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
It was exactly like the first one, and I think my problem with it was almost a carbon. To me, it was almost a carbon reboot. It lacked. The first one had a certain charm to it, a certain like adolescent charm to it that this one just did not have at all. That was gone. And it played off of the whole concept of really Billy coming to grips with the understanding that like everybody in the family was growing up and getting older and moving on and doing their own things. And like, he was all about, keeping everybody together,
So they couldn't stay together and still pursue separate lives?
Well, he didn't want them to.
Well, also he thought he was going to age out of the house and that they were going to ask him to leave.
Right.
You're freaking Shazam. You could go anywhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying. His entire motivation, Billy's entire motivation, which essentially becomes Shazam's entire motivation because Billy is Shazam, is about that, not about focusing on the evil that's that's like getting ready to take over the world.
So I do have
until he's absolutely forced to do it.
I have one question. So even after the wizard comes back, they're still calling him that?
Calling him what?
Shazam. Or they don't actually call him that in the movie?
Well, there's a joke throughout the movie like, hey, what are we going to call you? What are we going to call you? And then at the end of the movie, they're like, oh, I got it. We'll just call you Shazam.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, I asked because in the comics, he's known as Captain Marvel, but obviously Marvel.
Yeah, they can't use that.
Yeah, so it's like you're handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I thought they also called him. I thought it was like synonymous. Shazam, Captain Marvel, like
Shazam was the wizard.
Interchangeable.
Shazam is the wizard, but in the comics they called him. He was also Shazam, but I think Marvel owned that, and then they owned Captain Marvel. So it was like it's a weird thing. Like they can use it in print, but not in movies.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. I will say what I found annoying in Shazam is that Zachary Levi when he's playing Shazam, when he's playing Billy, he acts more of like a kid than Billy does when he's actually his kid self. He acts sillier when he's Shazam, and I'm like, it doesn't match. Like the kid doesn't seem that goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he becomes Shazam, he's just like goofy.
Yeah, they're two entirely different people.
Yeah, it doesn't match.
Yeah.
And that part bothered me. It bothered me a little bit in the first one, but in this one, it really bothered because it just seems like he's so immature when he's Shazam, Captain Marvel, as opposed to when he's actually Billy. Billy, he seems like a lot smarter when he's Billy than when he's Shazam.
Yeah,
and that just doesn't
make track for you.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, in stark contrast that with your favorite actress, Megan Good.
Stop.
Stop. But no.
Don't do
that.
But
what I'm saying is you contrast it with the fact that like she legitimately plays a 10-year-old girl, right? Like it's you recognize like the little girl that becomes the hero. Mm-hmm. Megan Good is still that little girl. She's still playing that little adolescent girl. She still has that little adolescent brain. So it meshes very well.
Okay.
But when she changes back to the little girl, like it makes sense. To Joe's point, it seems like Shazam and Billy are two entirely different people, and they act very, very differently with one another. But you bring up a good point, Joe, just when you brought up Zachary Levi, because my question there is, like, knowing that James Gunn is rebooting the DCU, do you guys think there's space for Zachary Levi as Shazam?
No, that's it.
I mean, we're assuming Black Adam is going to still be around, right?
Well, that's the point. I don't think Black Adam's still going to be around.
They're all done.
Promises made, but when you look at the post-credit scene in Shazam: Fury of the Gods, he gets recruited by the Justice Society, Justin, which I'm sure makes you happy.
Yep.
Does he?
He gets recruited. Yeah, he gets recruited by the Justice Society at the end of it. And
one good thing happens.
I'm in. He's like, I'm in. He thought it was the Justice League.
Justice League.
He's like, is that the one Wonder Woman's in? Because if she's in, I'm in. And Wonder Woman makes a cameo.
Yeah.
Which they ruin.
In the trailer.
In the trailer, where they show after the movie came out, they added Wonder Woman to the trailer. That clip of Wonder Woman to the trailer.
Because they realized they were in trouble.
Yeah, prior to the movie coming out. Yeah, because after that first Thursday, Friday, it was not.
It was dead.
I was in the theater. I was like, wow, this is so different because there was hardly anyone in the theater. I saw it in IMAX opening night, and I was like, wow, there's like nobody here. It was empty. I said, this is trouble.
I saw with my boys on Saturday, and it was decently, there was a decent amount of people there. But it was the fact of the matter was, it was not hard to get a ticket. I got a ticket maybe like an hour before the show started. Just like, jumped in. But so I think unfortunately you said the Black Adam is not gonna show up. So I think the question that I would have is, I think that we need to grow up this character. to some degree. We need to grow up Shazam. And if Shazam is going to be in Justice Society, if he's going to be connected, because Justice Society was in Black Adam, right? So that's why I was like, when I was saying, it's like the fact that Black Adam is saying, well, The Rock is saying he wants nothing to do with Shazam. They're clearly making some soft connections between the two, with these, Justice Society connections as well. And I feel like they have to grow up the character. And to me, the best way to grow up the character would be to pit him against, Teth Adam, because he's so different, right?
Adult.
He's so adult. Yeah, exactly. Basically, he's so grown up. And this one he's still a kid. Shazam is still a straight up kid, that you kind of have to like bring them together in order to like grow up Shazam and make him a better hero.
Yeah, I almost think that if they do make another one, it would have to be Zachary Levi would have to play both roles. Like, he'd have to be Billy Batson in human form, and then turn into Shazam, because he just it doesn't sync well for me. The transition, he's just not. It's too goofy. I know it's supposed to be like a fun, tongue in cheek superhero film, which I found the first one. I really liked the first one. This one, not so much. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It's just they're both missing the boat for not bringing in Black Adam.
They need each other.
Black Adam if they had been in each other's films, man, can you imagine they would have got everything they wanted. It would have been they would have made
Dwayne.
Way more money.
Yeah,
Well, he wants to
Dwayne.
be the star.
Exactly.
He wants to be the star, and it just he still would have been the star, even with Zachary Levi in the film. He still would have been the star.
But it would have changed. It would have changed the dynamic for Shazam so much, and made that character just so much more grounded and well-rounded. Like, to me, I just can't see this kid in any, playing in any of the darker DC universe stuff that's coming out. Yeah, and that sucks. That sucks, because I think Shazam is. Justin, you keyed me into the character. I think he's a great character. I think he's a very good character in comics, and they're just really. The first one I got why they did the first one the way that they did, but this one I just felt like, nah, this was all the way wrong, and not to mention the villains were.
And
I really wish we got more.
And Justin, since you're the Shazam expert here, when he turns into Shazam in the comic books, does he still have the brain of Billy Batson? Is he still the kid inside?
He is, but he is guided by the wisdom of Solomon.
Okay, right.
He's still him, but it accounts for the maturity factor. So the wisdom of Solomon helps him make, adult choices.
Okay. All right. So, okay, cool. But one thing I did like in the second film, they did have the TV Shazam. I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Shazam. Probably not, unless you saw it on the original DC universe or DC channel. What did the DC app used to be called? Was it DC Universe?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was in it, and it was in the scene where he was fighting the dragon, I believe. You see him with the red shirt that he used to wear in the TV show. And I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's the original Shazam.
Oh, that's a
Shazam
nice touch.
from the TV show. And he was in it. So that was cool seeing that. A nice callback to the TV show. But other than that, it was an okay movie. I'd watch it again, but it wasn't great by any stretch.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for you, Justin, because I feel like it's a lost cause. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
I'll strike it from my memory.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into tonight's review as our last big topic of the evening. Again, mentioned, we are talking about John Wick Chapter 4. And obviously, a spoiler alert here. We're going to be talking about the ins and outs, the ups and downs, everything related to this movie from our perspective. So if you have not yet seen John Wick Chapter 4, please stop the podcast right now, go to the movies, watch the movie, and then come back and listen to us. I'm sure you'll enjoy this part of the show a lot more. Now, I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds to stop the show before we get in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. I counted it down just like in Peloton when they count you down. They count you out to literally everything.
So you got when you edit it, end it with a gunshot.
Yeah.
End it with a gunshot.
I can do that. All right, so let's jump into this. I'll give you guys a quick synopsis of the film before we go ahead and get started. So, following up from the events of Chapter 3, Parabellum, the bounty on John's head continues to increase, and the High Table is leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit to end the life of the legendary assassin. Meanwhile, Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table and earn his freedom, but before he can, he must face off against a new enemy with global connections and resources that turns old friends into foes. John Wick Chapter 4 stars mainstays Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne, and Lance Reddick, and newcomers to the series Bill Skarsgård, Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, Donnie Yen, and Scott Adkins. So, Chapter 4, this is the final film of the series. Joe, I'm going to start with you.
Mm-hmm.
Initial expectations, right? So what did this movie meet your expectations or exceed your expectations going into it? Let's start off there.
All I'm going to say is that this is how I answer the question. John Wick Chapter 4 has set a new standard in action films. And that's it. It's a new standard.
That's a yes.
And it's, I don't know the next film that could possibly match John Wick Chapter 4. I don't see it coming anytime soon.
Okay. I would say that I tend to agree with you here. I tend to feel like this movie, to me, it was the perfect capper. The perfect, boss battle. It felt, if John Wick was a video game, this is boss level. Like, this is that last level of the game where the shit just hits the fan and everything, there is no holds barred. This is it. You're going to get our best and our worst, and you're just going to have to take it, and you're going to have to come out on top.
Yeah.
And you feel beaten, you feel bludgeoned, you feel beaten, you feel like you've lost pieces of you when you come out of this, whether you come out of it unscathed, victorious or not. What are you gonna say, Joe?
I was gonna say, like, the first big battle at the Continental in Japan,
mm-hmm.
that would be the ending of most action films.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be the end. That would be your final fight in most action films. That is just the beginning of what was to come.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Even the fight with Scott Adkins.
That was in the middle. That's the middle one. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Any one of these could have ended a movie, but the way they ended it was just mind blowing.
Yeah. All right, Justin, we're gonna go to you. Answer the question in terms of that.
What is the question? Just so I make sure.
Your expectations going in, did it meet, exceed, or miss your expectations going into the movie?
Well, Malik, my expectation was that there was going to be a lot of gunfire, a lot of explosions, a lot of scenes, a lot of stunts. In that respect, yes, it well, you know what? No, it exceeded my expectations. It did. Okay. We got, like, I will agree with you guys. Any of these major battles could have been the ending, let's say, in most movies. I will say I am disappointed with the actual end.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to the end. I
just want to make sure I answered. I want to make sure I stayed within the confines of your question.
And thank you for that. You don't always do that. That's why I'm trying to keep us there on topic.
No problem, boss.
But let's start at the beginning. And so the beginning of the movie opens up. The New York Continental building. I was actually, first off, it begins in Saudi Arabia, wherever he is.
Yeah, he went to the desert somewhere. To the new elder.
Desert somewhere.
Right, and he
going after another elder. Which if I remember correctly, that was like the ending of Parabellum. I haven't seen Parabellum.
No, Parabellum. He finds the elder.
Ends in New York.
It ends in New York. Remember, he ends with him getting tossed off the Continental in New York.
But that's where he sacrificed his finger.
Winston turns on him, and but yes, in Parabellum, he meets the elder, meets the high table, the elder, and he gives up his finger and his ring, right? And that's why at the beginning of chapter 4, he's searching for the elder. He wants his freedom, wants his ring back, and fortunately, won't get his finger back, but wants the ring back. And they're like, "Well, you saw what happened." He pretty much said no.
Exactly. Basically, the elder tells him the only way that you're going to, the only way you're going to find peace is in death. You are not finding any peace from the situation. Give it up. We're never going to stop chasing you. We're never going to stop trying to kill you. You're done. To which, John Wick does what John Wick does. He, pretty much says, nope. He's like, that's not going to happen. I'll figure it out. We fast forward to.
Well, he kills the elder.
Yes.
Kills the elder, which kicks off everything else.
Right, kills the elder, which kicks off everything. We fast forward. We go to the New York Continental, which has now been, I can't remember what they called it, desecrated,
deconsecrated.
Yeah,
deconsecrated. And not only has it been deconsecrated, but Ian McShane's character, I can't remember his name. What's his name? Winston becomes he basically gets demoted from his role, and because he's demoted from his role, he unfortunately no longer needs a concierge. And so the concierge, played by the now late Lance Reddick, is killed in the film very early on. It was shocking to me.
It was kind of sad. It was sad because it's like the man just passed away. Yeah, and then he gets killed, on screen.
I will say the theater was there was a lot of audible no and gasp, and this theater got real silent.
I will admit, I would have almost been okay if they cut that scene, or if they just did it off camera. Like, I would have been okay with it, because of the fact that he had just passed. You know what I mean? Like, watching, like, to your point, Joe, like having known that he just passed in real life and then having him pass on screen, it felt different.
I think if it had happened, possibly, I doubt they would have done it, but had it happened like months ago, maybe before distribution, or maybe they edited and like do something with it. But I mean, he literally died like 4 or 5 days before the movie came out. There's not much you can do, and it kind of sucked seeing it. I mean, the guy sitting next to me, he made a comment about it. Side note: it's the first time we went to see John Wick at like 10 o'clock at night in the 40X theater. As soon as I walk in, the guy sitting next to me just starts talking nonstop to me. Just starts talking nonstop. He
was excited
about John Wick,
John Wick, and just other stuff like trailers and stuff. He was like, "Hey man, you want to go see that? You gonna go check that out?" And he's there with his he's there with his, I don't know, his family, friends, whatever. And
they were probably happy he found someone to talk to.
Nice guy. It was nice. I mean, but yeah. Just side note. Let's get back. But I just thought of it when I was talking about it.
Funny enough, the same thing happened the last time I went to a Knicks game. The guy next to me stopped talking, and I was like, I was there with my friends, and I was having conversations with them, and he was talking to me about stuff. Like, come on, dude, you see, read the room. All right. Anyway, so concierge is killed. Winston is demoted, and the new high table enforcer, played by Bill Skarsgård, is now, leading the charge to find and kill John Wick. And such, the action just kind of kicks off from there. Now, Joe, I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of just kind of the stakes when it comes to this film, The stakes are higher than any this is the highest level of stakes that he's had in all 4 movies, right? Like this is.
Well, I mean, he's in this movie. He's trying to win his freedom, right? I mean, all the other movies. The second movie, he's paying. The first movie, I'm not going to get into that. We all know what that one's about. Mm-hmm. The second one, he's got the marker. The third one, he's running because he killed. I forgot the guy's name in the Continental, so he was excommunicado. He was trying to get, and so the third one, all he does is trying to get off the excommunicado list. And what was he told in the third one? Oh, he had to kill Winston, right, or something like that, in order to remove himself. But he decides not to do that and defend the Continental. Then Winston betrays him, right? And now in this one, he just wants his freedom. He wants to be out. And
I was gonna say, Joe, I have a question about that. Did Winston really betray him, or did he keep him alive?
Dude, this is where I was gonna wait to get into this, but
okay.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like John Wick, he fell from the top of the Continental, the top, like that thing is like, I don't know, like 20 stories high at least minimum, even if it was 12 stories high. He survived the fall. Now, most people would die.
Thank you.
With a fall like that. I don't care how many columns broke your fall on the way down. You would hit the floor with like all your bones broken because of the other things you hit on the way down, right? Okay, so you have to suspend disbelief, obviously, when you go see a John Wick movie, right? So, I mean, if I'm Winston, I'm thinking I killed John Wick when I shot him and he fell over the side of the building. That's what I'm thinking, right? So he meant to kill him, I'm sure. Right?
He knew. He knew.
Oh yeah, Jonathan will survive.
He would.
Whatever. I mean, come on.
He killed him. He shot him to keep him alive.
Well, and that'll lead me to my question about the end of the movie too, because there's definitely been a question around that floating around the internet, whether or not John Wick is actually dead. But to your point, Joe, the other thing that kind of flags to me about this movie is, unlike the other 3 movies, especially the first one, the mention of John Wick in those other movies, like he was basically the boogeyman for
you got to say it. I was about to say you got to say it for
the assassins, right? He was their boogeyman, right?
Kept them up at night.
By the fourth one, I feel like the mystique of John Wick is like they are just out for the money. Like nobody's afraid to they're not afraid to attack him anymore. They're not afraid.
20 million to help douse some fear.
And literally everybody's
for counseling.
Just gunning for him.
I mean, everybody's been gunning for him since the third movie. Since the beginning of the third movie, there's been nothing but assassins after him. So that doesn't really change all that much in John Wick 4. Yeah. I mean, and also it felt like 20 million is a little bit low. That's what I thought. I was like, shouldn't it be like 50 million? I mean, if he's like because this is the insult to John Wick, because when it first starts, he's like 5th or 6th, and there's like a bunch of other people that are higher on the list, and then they bring him to the top. 20 million now. Like 20 million. That seems. I mean, the high table's got some money. I think we could bump this up to like 50 million.
Yeah. Like LeBron James would not get out of bed for that. Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean,
if LeBron James was an assassin, he'd be like, "I'm making enough money playing basketball. I don't need to do this."
That's where I do give it to the tracker, Mr. Nobody. He just kept driving up the price, because that's how much you try to get what you're worth, right? So, but yeah, as far as the stakes are concerned, I mean, John Wick's freedom, which I think we all know where it was leading to. What freedom means for actual John Wick, but John Wick wanted to make sure that he took care. He eradicated the high table before he left.
Did he really?
Before it was all said and done. I mean, he didn't take out the Highlander, but Clancy. I forget Clancy Brown's name in the movie, but he left him alive.
He didn't do anything. He was just there to judge. He wasn't a justificator. He was something else.
No, he's a harbinger.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember Lance Reddick saying, "The harbinger is here." Like,
Yeah. The high tables, I mean, he effectively is done with the high table. He's done with all of that. And,
they've lost their position.
I don't think it would, to Joe's point, I don't think it was John Wick's intention, at least by this film, to kill them all. Because he had at one point wanted to kill them all. Mm-hmm. That was his intention. But by now, he just wants to get out. Like, he just wants to get his freedom, and then move on. I think this is the one thing that's really interesting to me about this, and I'll let you go in here, is the introduction of one of the things that I loved is the introduction of John Wick's friends having to now be the people, one of John Wick's apparently one of his closest friends having to be the person to now go after him in his buddy Kane. The dynamic between those characters, and not just Wick and Kane, but John Wick, Kane, and the character played by Hiroyuki Sanada in the Japanese
Shimazu
Continental. Like there was, to me, now what did you think about like the energy between those three? I thought that was great. I thought it was like phenomenal. These three, you could tell they have history, and you can tell Kane doesn't want to do it, but I love the fact that like that kind of permeates throughout the entire film. What did you think about that?
To who, me or Joe?
You.
Oh, me?
Somebody you.
I know, I loved it. They were old friends, like, much like here, but I'm sure if I had some movie reviews y'all didn't agree with, y'all would have no problem taking me out, but it's okay. No, I like the dynamic of it. It was just like they were all old friends who, in each of their own way, they got screwed over by this arrangement through the high table. I think Shimazu came out the best because we really didn't get a backstory, but I'm guessing he got his hands dirty. But he was the leader of the where were they at? Tokyo?
It was Tokyo.
Tokyo Continental. So he lucked out for himself. I think Kane and John suffered the worst because they were missing body parts. Willingly, of course, but yeah, it was a reluctant fight. It was just like I did like how Kane told the daughter, was like, listen, just live, just go on about your day.
He was gonna let Shimazu live.
He was, but he was just like, yo, my honor, I can't go out like a punk. Like, I can't live with that. So yeah, no, I enjoyed the dynamic between all three. I wish we would have gotten just a little bit more backstory, because as we can see, the pencil trick is not exclusive to John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I was like, that'd be interesting if he learned that from him. So yeah, I would have enjoyed that. And I was just gonna say I did. So it's funny, the whole time I'm watching it, and I'm watching John and what's his name? It's Shimazu. I kept laughing to myself. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna reference 47 Ronin, because I don't know if you guys ever seen
they're
that.
both in it.
Yeah, we're both in there. I was like, I would have loved it if they even said about, hey, remember that time we took on 47 Ronin? Like they made any reference to that at all. That would have been great. But yeah, no, I liked it. I loved the daughter. I can't remember her name, but I know she was actually the singer on the end of this. Akira.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I liked her, the actress or the singer who played Akira. I was like, she's not a bad singer, because I had to look her up. She did 2 songs on the soundtrack, and at the end, but I like how she knew, like, yo, dad, if this dude shows up, we're done.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, when they were on the train, I was going to say, I thought that I would have loved it, but my wife and friend told me, they were like, shut up, that's not going to happen. I really thought Cassian was going to show up from
oh my God,
part 2.
Comment.
Yo,
you
you left him on the train. Wouldn't that have been justice if you're on this train and he just walks through the car? I would have loved that. Because
look, if he would have walked in that car, he'd have just been like, "Now this is bullshit. I'm going to the next car. I'm not fighting this dude again."
No, but
I'm missing a lung because of you.
No, because and that was the thing. Did he die? Because I thought he left the knife in.
He left the knife in, and then he just.
Well, no, he
never showed him again.
Yeah, because he told him, he was like, "Yo, you take this out, you're gonna bleed out." But I'm guessing if he got medical attention and they treated it, he would have been back. And it's been at least maybe another year or so. He could have healed and came back. So I was like, when I saw him sitting on the train alone, I was like, "Oh, he's coming back." Common's walking through that door, and alas, it was just Akira.
Now, you know, that's a good point you bring up. Like all the John Wick movies, does this take place like over 3 weeks, like a month?
So, in an interview, Keanu Reeves said if he had it his way, it would have been at least a year's time because of the fall that he took. He would need time to heal, and they said you can tell how much time passes by looking at the Bowery King, because obviously
because the cut's healed.
Yes, so they would say if you judge that takes there was like it's been about at least 6 months to a year since those cuts are almost fully healed, and he doesn't have any stitches. But
okay,
I would, for sure.
I would think that he's skilled enough. First off, after each of these situations, right? It's not just that John has to heal. The high table has to heal because of all the shit that John's done, right? So it's probably on both sides. They both have to like tool up and heal before we go back after him again, because clearly we're all worse for wear after all 4 of these films. So there's definitely that. I love the Kane dynamic. I love the Kane and John Wick dynamic. I love how they get to the end and basically Kane helps him get up to the top. It says like, no, you're not going out like this. You're not going out like this.
It's twofold. Because he has to fight him. Kane has to fight him in that duel in order for him to win his freedom. So if John gets counted out, then or doesn't make it, then it's null and void. He still has to. Right. He still has to.
For the high table.
He still owes the high table. So it's twofold. It benefits them both to get up there. He at least wants his shot at winning his freedom. So, but man, you skipped all the way to the end.
No. I was just talking about the Kane dynamic and that whole thing happening.
Yeah.
So they get out of Japan. We get out of Japan. Huge action sequence occurs, and then Joe, I'm trying to now. You've seen this movie twice already. Mm-hmm. Where do we go from there?
All right, so now he goes back to New York, visits Winston, and that's when Winston tells him, they show the part in the trailer, how to get around and how to win his freedom. He gives him the plan of how to win his freedom, which is challenging the Grand Marquis, played by Bill Skarsgård, challenging him to a duel. So in order to do that, he needs the backing of someone who sits at the table, which is his family, which in part 3, if you remember, they severed ties. Once they ripped the card, that's it. So now he has to go back to, oh God, I know it's not Russia, but I forget the country. But he has to go back, see his family, and in order to...
I thought it was Berlin.
Is it Berlin? It was Berlin. Okay. Berlin, Germany?
I thought so. Or is it Belarus?
Belarus. I think it's Belarus. Belarus.
It's a B.
Yeah, Belarus. So he goes back there, and in order to get back into the family, they tell him, hey, you need to go and assassinate, I forgot her name, her father, Piotr.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find his killer, and kill him, and the killer's name is actually Killer. So he wonderfully played by Scott Adkins. A big fan.
Absolutely.
So in order to gain entrance back into the family, he has to go find and kill Killer and bring back.
It's not hard to find, by the way. He's not hard to find.
Not hard to find at all.
I mean, he looked like a cross between the Joker and the Kingpin.
And thank you for saying that, because I was just like, who's the Kingpin now? What's his name?
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Get Vincent D'Onofrio out of here. I want Scott Adkins in that
that's
role.
what I thought about. I
want him in that role now.
I saw that and I was like, dude, looks like with the suit, and he looked like the Joker and the Kingpin with that purple suit. It was like wonderfully played by Scott Adkins. For those of you who don't follow Scott Adkins, you should. He's a great action star in his own right. Granted, they're not A-list movies; they're more B-list type movies. But if you're looking for action, he's going to give it to you.
Yes, he will.
But yeah, then that brings us to the next very big action sequence. And yeah, it just, like I said, this action sequence could have been the end of the movie, but it's not. This is and
the interesting thing about that is it doesn't start out with the craziness that you don't expect the craziness that happens in this to really happen, because it doesn't start out in a way that feels like, there's a lot going to happen, because there's not a lot. I mean, you've got Kane there. John is there, obviously. Is nobody there at the time? I can't remember if nobody's there.
Yes, he is.
Mr. Nobody, they're all at the
table,
the blackjack table. Actually, we haven't
table.
Talked about Mr. Nobody yet.
I was gonna bring him in. Yeah, I was gonna bring him in.
Yeah, we probably should talk about that first, like the introduction of Mr. Nobody, who's actually a tracker.
Right. So he's brought in during, I believe the first time you see him is in the Tokyo Continental.
Yes.
He comes in with his dog. It sounds like, is he coming there to find John, or is he coming there to actually, like he's by now the contract already out. He's there tracking John.
Yes.
Right?
Because remember, he had the notebook with the sketches.
Yeah, but he had a lot of sketches in that.
Well, he knew he was coming there. He knew he was there.
I want to know how he knows he was there. How did anybody know that John was going to go to the Tokyo Continental?
His last friend. The reason why they showed up.
They
don't have that many friends
that they know of. That's his last friend. I mean, I had to give it to the high table and Kane. They hit right on every mark. Like they knew exactly where he was going every time he went somewhere.
He's not the smartest, Joe. It wasn't a game of chess. He wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, in stark contrast to Chapter 3, where he was able to navigate and not be seen until he wanted to be seen.
But that's the whole thing. Is like they started basically taking pieces off the chessboard.
Yeah, they started smoking him out.
They started just taking out as many as they could to bottle him in.
I was wondering. I thought he should have some more friends rather than. If he could count all his friends on one hand, then. But anyway, besides the point. He just. But for the tracker to find them so easily, I guess he knows all his friends too. I guess that's his job, but.
That's his job.
I was not a fan of that character.
And I'm curious as to why you weren't a fan of the character.
It just feels like, to me. The way they made it feel in the movie was like this guy could have killed John Wick at any time he wanted to, which I just find is unbelievable. And the fact that he was going to try to kill John from where no one else has tried to do this, I guess I give him credit. He's going to try to kill John from a distance, where every other assassin is trying to, honorably kill him up close. Even though they're using guns, it's always up close, within, 10 feet or something, where he's like going to take his shot from like across the street or, down the block or something like that. And that part just didn't appeal to me. And I just thought that his character wasn't really, in the end, his character really wasn't necessary.
Why did he get invited to the last final fight? Like, they should have kicked his ass out. Why was he invited to sit there? Like, oh yeah, have a seat.
Well, at that point, he was gonna kill John for $40 million or whatever it was, and then he ends up not killing him because John saves his dog. So he's like, I might as well sit around. And watch what happens.
Have a beer.
See how this shit ends.
Watch it.
Yeah, just see how this shit ends. I'm gonna watch the show. Who else is gonna get to watch this show?
I was gonna say. So to your point, Joe, you realize if you think back to if you take him out of this movie, take him out of every scene that he's in, the movie still plays exactly the same way. He brought nothing to it.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Now, I am a fan of the actor because I was a huge fan of Apple TV's Invasion. So, and the fight in the renovated house where you actually see him mix it up with the other thugs that are coming in. I was like, oh, okay, he's got some skill to him. Okay, I like that. I did. And then, using the dog as an attack dog, that worked. But I was like, man, he brought nothing to the story. You start to think back to everything he was in. I was like, yeah, it was all inconsequential.
So I don't disagree with anything that either one of you said about the character himself. I did like the addition of a different type of character. And this is one of the things that John Wick has always done. It's introduced different people in this world, who do different things, who fight differently, who, interact with you differently. And it was just another character that you brought into this, it's just another character in this, in this space. So it was like just adding another character in a comic. You know what I mean? Like, it was just another guy that maybe 2 years, 5 years down the road, we actually see a backstory about this character, or we follow this character in a series or something like that. I'm not saying that we I'm saying that that's, when you introduce new characters, I like all the characters that they've introduced into this world.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with any of the characters.
So I have one problem. Okay.
Wait, before you go, I just want to mention to Joe, when you asked the question around, like, to me, because I did think about that as well. Why did no one try to take him out from afar? I think that my main thing I came out of that with was that I think in a lot of everyone else's motivation was the glory.
Yes.
And the glory and like the impact of killing John Wick.
To say I did it.
To say I did it. This guy was clearly money driven. like for a long part of it, it was literally just about the money. So once he got the amount that he was being offered that matched whatever he felt like the value needed to be, taking out John was just going to be a matter of like lining up the shot and doing it. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't really care he didn't need to get up close and personal. He didn't need to do any of that stuff. He just needed to get it done because his motivation wasn't glory. It wasn't pride. It wasn't any of those things. It was just money. And that's what I feel like you could have hired.
I feel like you could have hired any sniper to do that then. You know who he's going to be. You could just I could hire any sniper, give him $1 million to take him out.
Exactly.
And it would have been cool.
Probably.
What was so special about this guy?
I'm saying he's probably the best at that, right? You know what I mean? Like, at that thing. Just like Kane was the best at what Kane did. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole, that's what I mean by just introducing different characters. It's like, introduce the best version of this thing. Like, the best, who's the best tracker in this entire universe?
He's the only tracker we've met.
Yeah.
Everybody else we met have been assassins.
Right.
And yeah, it's still I'm with Justin on this one. This is like we could take him out of the whole movie and it makes no difference.
Well, that was the other point I wanted to make, Malik. So something you said about, we introduced a new character and everything like that. That's fine. But if you notice something about him, I was going to say, anybody who's been introduced into this John Wick world, if you are a friend of John Wick or an ally, somewhere you leave worse than you started. You lose because of knowing this man. And I felt like his character suffered really no consequences.
His hand almost got cut in half.
I was gonna say, unless you want to count, but that wasn't because of John.
That shit. That shit.
That was not because of John. No, that was because of your own foolishness.
Yeah, that was his greed. He wanted money.
Yeah, that was like how dedicated are you to the cause? But I'm saying,
but it's because of John. If I didn't go for the contract, I'd still have my whole hand.
No, but hold on.
Hey man, you got a ton of assassins out there that still had their hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they went for the $20 million.
No,
they
okay.
Try to up it.
So if you look at going back to part one, what was his other friend? Oh man.
You mean Marcus? Played by
yes.
Yeah, played by
so you got Marcus in part
Green
one.
Goblin.
You could count Cassian in part. Yes. You could count anybody who's considered themselves even remotely a friend to John Wick. Winston, Sharon, anybody.
Halle Berry made it out. She lost the dog. She lost the dog.
She lost the dog, and didn't she lose the Moroccan concierge, or was she facing some kind of blowback for that? I mean, even though she had a marker,
they never got into it.
They never really. Yeah, they never dealt
yeah,
into
but
it,
she left on hard feelings, like
you assume
don't call me again.
Associated with her.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was also fulfilling a marker, so I don't know where that falls in place.
Exactly.
Like,
But I was just gonna say, Tracker, Mr. Nobody, whatever, he did not suffer anything. That's why I said they should have killed the dog. Just as a consequence of sparing this man's life, it came with consequences. He suffered none. That's what I was saying. It was pointless to him. Now, had he suffered a little bit and then had a little saltiness to him or anything, it was like literally you had him in your sights because he saved your dog. You gave, so technically your dog's life was worth, what was it up to? 34 mil?
40 million.
40 million. It reached 40 mil. So so your dog's life.
It absolutely was. His dog's life was, there's no
priceless. No, I get it. But I was saying, had there been some kind of other consequence to him, maybe I would have cared more for his character.
I guess his consequence was not getting the $40 million.
Right? And you stayed. All you did was have a beer and watch your money go up in smoke. I'd have shot John after he got shot.
No, but when you're driven solely by the money, that is your consequence. Right? Again, what is his motivation? His motivation is simply to get paid. That's literally all it is. He's losing this money by doing that. The other thing is they don't become, if you said like any friend of John has come out of this worst aware. I mean, they're not friends. They're not friends even when it's all over. like they're not friends.
Well, you're on good terms.
He has gained a level of respect for John. And he has gained a level of, he's like, okay, I'm not going to murder you. I'm not going to do what I've been paid to do because I respect you and because of what you did to save my dog, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean we're not friends. Like you're not coming to hang out with me the way he hung out with like Lawrence Fishburne and them. Like he's not calling. Don't call me for help again.
Another person who suffered consequences.
Because those are his friends. This guy's not his friend.
Barry King was not his friend. They just had a mutual hate. But you see what happens.
Well, he's more friend than foe.
All right.
I mean, gave him his best suit.
Yeah, and he also gave him the gun that ended up killing the guy in part 2. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I like I said, I don't disagree with any of your points about the character. I just didn't have a problem with the character because, like you said, he didn't add anything, but he didn't take anything away from the movie either. His presence did not ruin the film for me.
Okay.
And
I
love
it
the
didn't
dog.
ruin it, but I just feel like it didn't add anything either, and it was just like he was there to provide something that actually I never even was afraid of, that he was actually going to kill John Wick. I was not. It didn't even dawn on me that he was going to do it. So I was like, okay, you keep doing this and you keep trying to up the ante every time you have him in your sights. I'm like, all right, dude, you're not going to do it. So just get out of my way.
But what was his reason for not doing it? Out of just respect?
Because he's trying to up the ante every time. So he would, every time he'd have John in his sights, he'd call up the Grand Marquis and be like, hey, I got him here. Now it's 25. Now it's 30. Yeah. And then finally he gets to 40. As soon as John keeps like mowing down more assassins, and it becomes least likely that it becomes more likely he's going to make it to the church, then the ante keeps going up.
I will say I did enjoy that when he hung up on the marquee, and the marquee threw his phone, and then the next time you see him, he's on a old rotary phone.
Old.
Mm-hmm.
But did you notice it was wireless? I thought that was hilarious. Since you've seen it more than once, Joe, if you see it again, I
didn't notice that, but I mean, it is the high table, so
yeah, it was this luxurious rotary phone. But if you notice, it was wireless, and I thought that was so hilarious. I don't know why, but I was just like, "That's great."
And yeah, to Joe's point, it's foreshadowed in the beginning when he goes into his sketchbook and he has a picture of John. He has a sketch picture of John, and he has the ascending number in his book. At the very, very beginning, when he first opens it up and he looks at it and he sees what the amount is at that moment, and he circles it. But you can see it's going up. In his book, he had it up to 50 million. So it wasn't until that was probably the number he was looking for, and it only got to 40 when he said, "All right, fine, I'll do it." All right. So talked about Nobody. After John Wick defeats Scott Adkins, he now and he's by this time he gets his mark from the family, and he is now able to take on the Grand Marquis.
They set the conditions, right? They set the conditions for the duel, and that's when the Grand Marquis nominates Kane to fight in his place.
Now, first and foremost, probably my favorite part of this movie is that scene. The scene where they set the terms of the duel, and the person that is challenged gets to identify what do they want, and then they have to flip the card to it's a game of chance. That's my favorite. It's the action is great, but that to me that's so much about the mythology of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Of
the high card wins.
I loved it.
Yeah. It was great. The thing is, I'm laughing because Justin, you know what I thought about when they got to the table?
What?
Well, come on. What do you think I thought about when they went to the table to discuss the terms?
WWE?
The contract, WWE contract signing.
Yeah.
They're going to flip the table and start body slamming each other. Powerbomb
going
them
at
to
it
the
right there. So I was thinking, I was like, damn, it's a WWE contract signing over here.
Sign a contract with his blood. Flip this table. Sick of this man. Take his title and his life.
That's what I thought of when they went to the contract. I was like, this WWE contract signing, something's going to go down.
Something's going to happen right at the end. Watch.
Man. But yeah, that's like I said, that to me is my favorite scene in the entire movie, because of we're really immersed into this world.
Is that how
then because you also know what?
I was going to say, is that how you want to settle all your differences? You know what?
I would love
you should go to the bank. The next time the mortgage is due, you just do that. Start flipping cards over. Be like, are you going to get your payment this month?
I would love
you a
to.
7. I think not.
One of my favorite characters in Batman lore has always been Two-Face, because he's not, I mean, as crazy as he is, he's not driven by one thing or another. It's chance. I love the fact that he flips a coin to determine whether or not I'm going to kill you. Like you do have a chance in this situation. We're going to, we're going to play.
It's a double-sided coin.
It's a double-sided. It's always going to be.
I know. But except for when that sequence when he flips the coin and then Batman, what was it? Batman flips the all the coins.
Yeah, throws all the coins in there.
So he loses his coin. It was great. Anyway, but probably my favorite scene. But it's also my favorite scene because there is no way the Grand Marquis is going to play this fair. And the word goes out to the entire, to literally every bad guy. This becomes
France.
Joe, Justin, this movie, because at that moment it became Smoking Aces, the John Wick version. Yes, or the Warriors.
The Warriors.
It was definitely the Warriors with
the Warriors
with the DJ. Yes, I was like, wow, y'all really went there. Okay,
they even played Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide. I was like, damn.
It was everything, man. Like I said, it was Smoking Aces because of the dynamic, right? There is a goal to get this guy somewhere. We have to get this guy somewhere, and literally everybody comes out of the woodwork to take him out.
They should have waited because they were poorly equipped.
Part of me, but they didn't get $20 million. $20 million, like that was it. That was it.
You would have came out for that.
Money was on the
At
table.
what point did you come out, Malik?
I would probably came out at like 12. Like I'm you know what?
You would have shot him in part 2.
Yeah, you came out. You came out for 500,000.
I'd have shot him to the song with Halle Berry.
You'd have been on the PATH train after he shot Cassian.
You'd have killed him for a Friday's gift card. Stop.
This is that world? Yes. Because I would have been the glory.
A stay at the Continental? You just had a weekend at the Continental?
Yeah. A free week at the Continental?
You cannot conduct business that week, though. You can't conduct any business that week.
They'd be like, Malik, you working? He's like, no, I'm on vacation this week. just kill John Wick. I'm
here for the spa. I'm here for the spa.
Cash it in my PTO. I got my Continental box. I got my rewards points. My Marriott.
My stay is only going to cost me 1 gold coin. Remember, I'm cashing in some points. 1 gold coin. That's it.
Yeah, I'm cheap, man. I'm cheap. You ain't got to worry about that.
Wow.
But John would have killed me pretty quickly. But no, but I do. I thought that whole dynamic of like everybody coming out of the woodwork. But the first thing that came to mind when that happened, right, was they don't know where he is. Couldn't he have just stayed in the tunnel with Winston and
well, that was as close as they could get to the church.
That was
as close as they could get to the church. But I mean, I was like, damn, can't you get into like a car, like a van or something, and that nobody knows you're in? Or
no, he just decided to walk down the street,
walking around the city, like you know that they're coming after you, right?
It's funny that the disc jockey, the DJ, knows where he's at. I was like,
yeah, tracking him.
Do you have cameras? Do you have cameras?
And I just like to point out,
on camera.
That was one of the
camera.
I have to say, I did hate that whole sequence of events because, and again, Joe, since you seen it again, and this is something me and my wife laughed about in the theater. The part where he gets off the boat and he's above ground. If you notice quickly when the people when they first approach him and he's realized he's cornered in and they start shooting at him in the middle of that intersection. If you notice, the people are sitting down eating dinner. They don't flinch. They don't run. They don't do anything. They just sit there and watch this man fight. I was like, yo, Paris is a gangster city.
It's just a Tuesday. It's just a regular Tuesday. I mean, that's,
we were sitting
that's
there
how they living.
We were like, oh, look,
people get shot every day, B.
They got the John Wick.
Yo, did you see District B13? You saw District B13, right? That's how they live.
It's like,
look at this John Wick.
I see Wick over here.
Like, eat your dinner, sir.
Yeah, you don't know nothing about B13.
Yo.
Like,
I love that
you
movie
ain't
too.
To find out how much he was worth.
Yeah, I will say, but that, yeah, I did have issues with that. I was just like, so why didn't he just lay down in the back of a cab? Like, he could have went straight there.
That's what I'm saying. He could have went into a van. He could have done anything and just to hide. But that's just not John Wick's style. He likes to be out in the street.
It's just never been his style. He's just never been that type of guy. Like,
he's like, bring it on.
Smart. That's why I said this is not chess. Don't play chess with this man. You will win every time because he's not. He's a straight up checkers man. He's just like, yo, I'm gonna just jump you, jump here. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna go here. No.
No matter what game you're playing, you got to come out at one moment, and that's when John Wick's bullet's gonna find your head.
Yo, seriously though, I'm glad they explained about the gun because they were like it held 21 bullets. I'm like, because my man did not reload in that whole fight scene at the Tokyo Continental.
All right, okay, all right.
Yeah, I know.
You have to let it go. You have to let it because this, like, it just seems like he has unlimited clips. Like he just reaches to the back, he pulls out another clip. I'm like, how many clips do you actually have?
Between
I don't ask those questions.
Okay. Between that and the bulletproof suits,
I just love when he puts up his forearm. He puts up his forearm.
Yes.
And when he pulls the jacket to cover his face.
When they're acting like ghosts running around.
Not only is it bulletproof, so it won't kill you, it doesn't hurt you either. Like that's the other part.
Yeah.
Getting shot in a bulletproof vest, I've never had that happen.
Oh.
But I have heard that it hurts.
Well, you've played paintball, right?
Stopped. No.
You've never done it?
You've never played paintball?
I've never played paintball. I've been shot by a BB. I have done BB guns.
Okay, well,
before.
paintball,
I've been shot by a BB before.
It hurts. No matter if you have a chest protector or anything, you still feel it.
So he's not getting shot once or twice. He's getting shot multiple times by multiple.
Don't phase me,
people.
baby.
And
Can I say it, Joe? Because I've been waiting.
Yeah, go get say it. Say it. Get.
Listen, I was in the theater and I wanted to text you guys.
No, Justin, you can't even say it.
Yes, I can.
It's a new word. You can't because it's not peak. It's Wick. It's Wick physical conditioning. It's not. Yeah, we have reached beyond.
Okay, so can we finally get to that? Because this is where. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I probably should clarify. I was with y'all. I thought this was a greatest. I was like, yo, Malik, Joe did not lie. This was the greatest action movie I've seen, hands down. Okay, we are here until you got to the renovated house or whatever. That is where it went off the freaking rails.
I actually let out a laugh. I started laughing when he fell out, when he jumped out the window with 5 stories down.
Yo,
I started laughing in the theater.
I was like, he got up.
I started laughing.
And he got up.
I literally laughing, but you know what? I don't care. If that's the only flaw, I don't care.
But you know what? For me, it happened before that. For me, it happened in the club.
Really?
Oh, when he fell in the club.
When he fell over the banister.
The water broke his fall.
His back hit that thing.
The water.
Fell on the floor.
Bro,
water broke his fall.
That little puddle.
It broke his fall. Go with it. The water broke his fall. Okay.
I mean, Malik, that was only maybe 2 stories. We're talking like
he bounced, Malik. He bounced on the way down.
When his back hit that, my back hurt. Like I was like, I felt that one. So when he got up from that, it's not just that he got up from that, right? He got up from that and started fighting again.
Right away.
Yes.
And he fought killer. He fought killer right after that.
Yeah. It wasn't like the fall out of the building. He fell on. Didn't he hit like a van? Right. He he fell on top of a van or something like that. And then he got up and like limped away. Right. It's not like he didn't have to fight again. That happened. It literally happened. He hit
that sets you up
at least 100 feet. Okay.
Yeah, but Malik, that scene sets you up for the 222 step fall.
Yes.
That's what it sets you up for because.
And if you played any difficult video game, you know what that felt like to make it to the top and get smacked all the way down. That was straight up Ninja Gaiden 80s Nintendo life. That was Kung Fu. That was your world. You get to the end, you got no save points. You get that one hit that take you down. Yes. I shit you not. The whole theater was like, no. The whole time as he's sliding down, the whole theater's I will say that it had its desired effect because the audience, audibly were reacting to that. That killer's death, which everyone hated. They were like, because in that short span of time, and I had to tell my wife, I was like, that's dude from Undisputed. And she was like, I don't know who that is. I was like, you'll see. And then she looked at me when he started busting out a few kicks. She was like, he's in a fat suit? I was like, yes. She's like, okay, because he's way too athletic. But
Sammo Hung at that same size. Sammo Hung at that size is kicking like that.
Well, there's not too many at that size.
Yeah.
But I liked him in that short stint. He's like, you shut me in the ass.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could see he didn't have the same kind of suit John had because he fell 2 stories and he didn't survive.
But, yes, I'm glad. But, yeah, I was going to text y'all.
He fell on his neck.
He fell on his neck on the staircase.
I was going to text y'all. I was like,
I think John falls there. I think he survived.
He fell flat.
I think he
was good. He was flat. It's okay. But, yes, that was Malik. Yes, that is Wick. Yo, he fell off the building. He got hit by a couple of cars. You fell down 222 steps.
Oh, yeah. Don't give me. Yeah, I mean, getting hit. But the fight in that, what do you call it? The circle? With all the cars? That was insane. I mean, that was fantastic.
You know what it is? And what makes it so funny is, so I don't know I know you have, Malik, but Joe, do you know Grand Army Plaza in Brooklyn, that circle?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so in Brooklyn, there is a similar, if you're headed downtown, there's a similar road like that. So I just imagine some fools are going to reenact that now. I can't wait till they reenact the fight scene in Grand Army Plaza in that little circle. And I was like, yeah, that's going to happen next.
I mean, that fight, I mean, and in that fight alone, leading up to that fight, John has already slammed into like 3 or 4 cars by now. At this point, he's already been hit.
And the dog too.
Into cars.
The dog has canine peak physical conditioning.
The dog took slammed.
The dog. I was like, because everybody groaned when the dog got hit because you thought it was it. Dog was like, nope, I'm good. Let's go.
That's not fur. That's a suit. It's not fur. It's a suit. He's wearing a suit.
I really thought so.
Look,
I'm back.
Mean, if you're going into this, look, this is what I kept telling her, because even Val, my wife, was saying this too, right? She was like, "Oh my God, this is ridiculous." I was like, "Honey, it's part 4. You understand? This is the 4th one, okay? Do you understand? There have been death. If you watch it from 1 all the way through, he's been defying death on so many levels. Set to this point, he should be dead 50 times over. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So just stop trying to make sense of it. And the reality of the situation is, Justin, if you got a problem with that, then the Fast and Furious franchise is a problem for you.
You obviously know it's a problem for me. Well, you know that. He needs to join them.
I was thinking that too. He needs
a How I Spent My Summer Vacation, John Wick style. I went to go visit my cousin Dom. That's it.
If John Wick fights Dom, that movie never ends. And neither one of them dies. Okay?
We just need to see John Wick in a white tee and a tie. That's it. He's got to rock. You got to have the tie on.
You know who loses? Time. Time loses, okay? If they fight, the movie's 9 hours long. You know what? A fight between John Wick and Dom is literally an episode of Dragon Ball Z. It's a whole season of Dragon Ball Z. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're gonna charge up, fight. Dom will drive the car that hits John Wick, and still somehow Dom will get injured. He will go flying out
the car will get dented if it hits John Wick.
Please, it's like I just. Not even trying to hear it anymore. I'm just done with it.
I'm just saying. I was just like, all right, so we're here. Okay, this just happened.
I mean, he fell off the Continental Part 3. I mean, you have to just go with that. What you have to say is, oh, that was only 5 stories. That's what you have to say. It was only 5 stories.
Only 5, yeah.
It's only 5.
And the awning broke his fall on the way down, so you got to figure that slowed his rate of descent.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, it was only 5 stories. That's how you have to look at it. It's only 222 steps.
Physics are not part of John Wick's world. Physics don't matter.
Physics do not matter in movies. Okay?
And he doesn't have bones. He has adamantium. It's gonna come out in part 5.
At this point,
it's got adamantium skull.
At this point,
so
it's possible.
That leads me to my final question. Well, actually, my second to last question. So we go through all of the craziness, and we get to the top, and now we get to the final battle. We've got Cain, we've got John, and the duel is 30 paces, turn fire. If nobody dies, then 10 more paces,
by
in,
10,
20 paces, then turn fire. So of course they get to. Of course now he's vulnerable. Right. It's like, of course, now he.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, they both shoot each other in the arms, and they give identical shots to each other in the first 2 rounds.
Which I'm 90% sure is on purpose, right? Because neither one of them wants to actually kill the other.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I almost felt like when you see the end, and when you get to the end, I almost feel like they had a discussion about how this was going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't see, like something off camera.
Yeah. So of course we do the 30 paces. They fire. Neither one of them dies. They go down by 20, by 10, 20 paces. Same thing. They get to 10, and the understanding there is that they fire. Well, they go to fire. And Cain gets off his shot before John.
Now, was that on purpose?
Of course, obviously it was on purpose. Yeah. Then that's why to Joe's point. That's why the scene ends the way it does, because Winston knows it. The scene goes. John takes a shot. He falls on the ground. Cain is standing over him, and now the Grand Marquis decides, you know what? The coup de grace is on me. I'm going to take this shot. Give me the gun. I'm going to go walk over to him, and I'm going to kill him. I'm going to end this myself.
That's a pretty big gamble.
He does it. What do you mean?
Well, at that point, thinks John is hurt, and he's like,
"No, I was like that. They knew it would play out like that. That's a pretty big gamble."
Well, the Marquis. Well, that's why I'm saying.
You know that guy. You know he's going to want to do the final deed.
Yeah. I think the thing that that's why I was saying earlier. I think the thing that is like they shot each other in areas that they knew wouldn't kill him, right, immediately. Because we know John, he's a freaking great shot. He could, from 30 paces, he probably could have killed Cain easily, And Cain, even though Cain's blind, right, which we didn't even touch on that, but even though Cain's blind, he's probably going to be able to kill John. He'd probably be able to shoot John in an area where he could kill him. So the fact that they continued to do this, it built it up all the way to the end, where the Grand Marquis takes the gun, walks over to him, and Winston says to the Grand Marquis, "You idiot, John didn't shoot," which means John still has a bullet left in his gun. And John turns around and shoots the Grand Marquis and kills him.
Goodbye, Pennywise.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Side note, I still can't see that man and not see Pennywise whenever I see his
absolutely.
Face. It's I don't know, it's weird. So now it's over. And John Wick effectively dies. Now,
did he?
My question: is he dead?
No.
Joe, is John Wick dead?
No, I don't think so. Only because Lionsgate is already talking about making another one. They're already trying to bring him back.
Well, yeah, it was the biggest rated R opening weekend since 2020, since the pandemic.
And I want to add, of course, everybody will lend evidence to the scene where they're at his grave, but a clue in is the fact that Lawrence Fishburne is now bald. So unless you shaved your head in a week, the timeline of this can be played with a little bit to say, A, either this death occurs later, or B, they faked it so this man could live a life of peace. Because I am going to say there is no way, after falling out of a balcony window, crashing, getting hit by a car multiple times, falling down 222 stairs, fighting a Chilean martial artist and getting your ass kicked and there's no way I will accept you got shot you got killed by a shot to the gut. That is unacceptable.
And the thing is, him and Cain both got shot in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Kane walks away like, all right, John, see you next week. I'm out of here. Go get stitched up. And you die? No, I don't believe that. I think that when part 5 drops, they'll be like, oh, we got him some medical aid. He's got Wick physical conditioning. And, we just had to just make him bionic or something.
You know what cracked me up though is like all these people are supposed to be his friends that are left standing up there. No one said,
Nobody
hey, let me get you an ambulance. Let me get you an ambulance. Let me help you out. And he's like, Winston, can you take me home? And Winston's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here and let you walk down the steps.
And I'm gonna let you die on the steps. No, like
I'm gonna borrow from another franchise to say, this is the way.
This is the way.
That's it. That's how we go. That's how we go. Before we get off,
yes,
I want you guys to give your reviews, and then I want to ask a question of the two of you. Because I know we're getting ready to cut off, and I want to make sure that we get all this in. So, Joe, scale of 1 to 5.
Ooh.
John Wick 4. Give it your grade.
This is a hard one. It's a 5. The first 5 I give out.
First 5 of 2023. I'm loving it.
5.
Joe. Wait, was Everything Everywhere All at Once a 5 for you last year?
Oh, well, we didn't review that.
I don't think we reviewed it. Would it have been a 5 for you?
Probably because I loved that movie.
Okay. All right. Justin, what about you? Hey, look, you tried to bash it, but you've been an hour and a half in, and you still haven't.
I haven't heard any bashing.
He died in a disrespectful way. If he's really dead, after everything that man endured, that was a cop out.
Don't die on me like this. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, I will quietly say a 4.5. Don't ask me, don't ask any questions. Don't ask any questions. I'm gonna leave it at that, and that's it. I'm gonna say. However, I do want bulletproof kimono wearing sumos on my payroll.
We didn't talk about them.
I think they need a storyline. I need to know their backstory.
Another 2 characters who were just dope. Like exactly. I'm just happy about them. It's a 5 for me as well. So we all loved it. And so my last question before we cut out is, I came home thinking to myself, there has not been a weak movie in these 4. I can't say that there was one. And so as a result of that, Joe, is this the greatest action movie series we've ever seen?
Man, I can't. If you were going to go strictly action, I can't think of one unless you want to like throw in like Mission Impossible, but it's like a mix of action and thriller and espionage. But this is John Wick is just straight up. There's like no the plots are really simple. It's John Wick kill people or people try to kill John Wick. I mean, it's
he barely talked in this.
Yeah, it seems like every movie his dialogue is less and less.
They said that's on purpose.
I know.
They cut half of the dialogue on purpose.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't really need to. He says everything with his body, his eyes, everything. He doesn't.
They rely on the other characters for exposition.
I can't think of another action series that at this moment, not even The Raid,
American Ninja.
He said American Ninja.
Your top 80s movies, American Ninja, yeah. I can't think of anything that could possibly top this.
I'm it's a struggle. It was a struggle for me to admit it, and I'm in the same boat. I'm sure at some point in time I'll be able to come up with something that can
maybe rival it,
but I just can't find it.
I can't think of any series that. Yeah, I can't.
No.
Yeah. Justin, can you?
No. I can't.
I can't think of it. How would you rank them?
In terms of what?
No, just rank the movies. Rank the John Wick movies. Your ranking, how you like each one.
4, 1, 2, 3.
I would say 1, 4, 2, 3.
I would go 1-4-3-2.
I can see that one too.
Okay.
I can see that one too.
I guess stick with the first one because that's the one that kicks it off. That's what lays the groundwork.
But you know what it is, and I don't think we gave enough time to this. That's that fight. I mean, and we I don't know if you recorded this part, Malik, but we did talk about the fight inside that house, that isometric top-down view. I don't think I've seen that in another movie. And it made it feel like a video game. And that gun, the incendiary bullets, that just looked like fun. I'll give him that.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
That was just like, I think that was the part which I'll give him credit. And even Mr. Nobody got in on the action. I did like his vest, how it doubled as a bulletproof vest, like the backpack slid over. I was like, okay, I'll give him credit. So,
and another thing that this movie does really, really well is it foreshadowed that before the, when all of the other thugs are getting ready to tool up and go out, they test the gun.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to factor in here.
But I didn't know how many bullets they had in that thing.
No, I get it. Yeah. But it was just the fact that it didn't just show up out of nowhere. Nothing. You can tell that they take a lot of time to think through all of these situations, and once you suspend belief with regards to the character and all the craziness that's going to happen, it's just a damn good fun.
So the runtime is justified.
It didn't feel like 3 hours.
Okay.
I came out of that and not feel like it. Everything has kind of hit because to me the longest sequences are the action.
Yeah, I mean that's the longest. And from what I read or what I heard, the actual uncut version is like 4 hours long.
Yeah,
5 hours.
Yeah.
I hope we get that. I would like to see it. I mean, I would like to see that.
At that point, make it a mini series. I don't want to sit through.
Hey, look! If I had to sit through 4 hours of the Zack Snyder verse, I could sit through it. I could
exactly,
sit through
but they divide it up in chapters.
I have to.
Same thing.
I have to give it to Keanu. He didn't want to extend this any longer, and because they could have easily broke this out into 2 movies to end it all, made it 4 and 5, and I think he just wanted to just do this one, and that was going to be it. So I guess it just really comes to, does Keanu want to do another one?
They'll back the movie truck up,
right? I mean, Keanu is pushing 60. So does he have another John Wick film in him? Does he want to do it again? If he doesn't want to do it, are you okay with this ending? Are you good with the way he goes?
No, I'm not good with the way he goes, but I'm good with the way it ended. Like, I'm glad it told the complete story, so I can't be mad at that.
I mean, because they do, as the way it's shown in the film, he's dying. He's supposed to be dying, whatever, whether it's fake or not. He does flash back to his wife, and he wants to be with her. That's his real freedom. That's what he really wants. He's never going to have that again. Whether if he stayed alive, he's just going to be alone. So that's what he really wanted. So in that aspect, I'm good with it. If we don't get a part 5, if Keanu doesn't come back, I'm good with it. I'm good with the way it ended. When I saw it initially, I didn't really like it. I wanted him to stay. I want him to live. I want to know that he's alive. But after thinking about it, I'm good. If this doesn't come back, it completes the whole story.
Yeah, I was definitely happy with it. I was perfectly fine with it. And the other thing is, I'm now, to me, it told the whole story. It's come full circle. We're good. He's good. I feel good for him. If Keanu Reeves is able to come back, let it be in the Continental series that's coming out. Let it be, which is, I believe, is going to be taking place. It's a
between
prequel,
3 and 4.
Right?
Oh, is it?
Continental series between. There's the ballerina.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And there's the
ballerina is between 3 and 4. Sorry.
Yeah, the Continental is takes place in the 70s or something like that.
Oh, really? I thought. I thought setting up the New York Continental, redoing it, was going to be the series. I was hoping that anyway, that was going to be the series. From
what I read, it's the Continental is telling a previous story of the
Okay.
Kind of the older, and so you may see I'm hoping maybe we see a young John Wick, come to the Continental and they age Keanu down or something like that with technology that they do nowadays. And then you have the ballerina, which again, like you said, Justin, it's between parts 3 and 4, and so maybe you see him in there, or you hear a mention of him in there, or something like that. I'm fine if we never see this version of John Wick again. To your point, Joe, I feel like he's gotten what he's like. To me, he got his Maximus ending.
Mm-hmm.
He got his Russell Crowe Maximus ending.
I'm glad someone said that.
That was it. He's back with his family. He's happy. Let him go. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I always thought that this was a longer Gladiator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
It didn't start out that way. I think it was just working its way to that, with each film.
And Joe,
but
I was going to say, to your point, you were asking, has there been a better action franchise? So something I'll bring up, Mr. Charles Bronson, Death Wish.
No, stop.
No.
Stop.
And with that, we're going to end the show.
Actually, I have one more question. So as far as like Keanu, where does this rank overall? Do you think this is better than The Matrix?
Yes. Easily.
Easily better than The Matrix.
He destroyed The Matrix with that last movie.
Easily better than The Matrix.
Speed.
He only did one.
The first one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not talking about series. I'm just talking about overall movies. Keanu.
Yeah. This was better than Speed.
Yes.
Yeah,
it may not be my favorite Keanu movie was still
Walk in the Clouds.
No, Justin.
Bill and Ted.
The one where with the Asian lady.
Oh, Always Be My Maybe.
Be My Maybe.
Be My Maybe.
Yo, he was great.
He was fantastic.
That song, I still have that on Spotify now.
Oh, so do I. It's on my playlist.
Yo, Punch Keanu Reeves.
Punch Keanu Reeves. Still, you know what? Classic. Love Keanu.
Oh, that was great. I love that song. I remember watching that movie, and I was like, she was like, "Are you going to make a song about it?" And I was like, "Oh, please make a song about it." And then finally came on in the credits.
Punch Keanu Reeves.
If it wasn't published, I would play it as our outro.
Yo, that's a great song, man.
All right, we're gonna roll up out of here. Thank you so much for listening to our show. Thanks again for sticking with us throughout this whole hour and 40+ minute episode. I promise you, I'm not cutting anything. This is going up exactly the way it is. If it downloads, I'm putting it right out.
Glad to hear it.
So for the Bass Panda God and Agent 00 Joe, I am the Harlem Sun. We are the Lord Expectations Review Crew. Until next time, peace out. Joe, you gonna send us off with a John Wick quotable as you normally do?
They keep asking me if I'm back. I guess I am back.
I guess not.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess I'm dead.
Yeah. That's all he pretty much said.
Well, we could just end it with a whoa.
Man.